Lawful Purpose Expenditures Part 2. In this video, we're going to go through Lawful Purpose Expenditures Code 6 through 10. Lawful Purpose Code 6 allows your organization to pay for goods and services that honor military service. A common use of this category is to compensate individuals in a color or honor guard. Your organization is allowed to pay up to $50 a day plus mileage to reimburse for color or honor guard services in Minnesota as well as bordering states. Please note that this is a $50 per day, not a $50 per event. Therefore, it is important if you have multiple events in one day to stay aware of this maximum. For example, if you pay honor guard or color guard $25 per event and you have 3 events in one day, you would need to cap the pay at $50 plus mileage. Your organization is required to keep good records of honor and color guard activities to support the payments made. These records should include the location of the event, who attended, and what it was for. If you are paying mileage, you will need to track the mileage for each individual. Please note that the maximum mileage rate payable is the current federal mileage rate. This code also allows your organization to purchase goods that are used in activities to recognize military service. These include items such as flags, uniforms, grade rifles, and bugles. In addition, you can use this category to pay for activities that recognize military service, such as a Memorial Day or Veterans Day service. These events should be open to public, and you can pay for items such as meals, entertainment, or speakers for the event. Also, this category allows you to make contributions to or expenditures for active military personnel and their immediate family members in need of support services. An example may be paying the cost for a service such as a lawn mowing or snow removal for a family while their military member is deployed. You could also use this category to pay for care packages that you send overseas to soldiers. It is important to note that this code may not be used to pay for items such as membership dinners, membership dues for veterans, or paying for funeral home or cemetery visits that are not part of a formal ceremony. Also, organization members may not receive any money, goods, or services that have a market value of $10 or greater with an annual limit of $100. Code 7 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures allows your organization to make contributions to facilities and activities that benefit youth under the age of 21. Examples of these include youth sports, music and theater programs, and youth field trips. Your organization is required to adhere to the gender equality standard. What this means is if your organization makes a greater percentage of its lawful purpose expenditures on one gender, your organization may not deny a reasonable request for funding from an underrepresented gender if the request meets lawful purpose. When making an expenditure for youth activities, you will want to determine who you are making the check payable to. If the check is being paid to a public educational institution, you should refer to Code 4 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures. If the check is being made to a unit of government, you will want to refer to Code 10 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures. Otherwise, expenditures can be made directly to the youth that is participating in the activity or a vendor for the purchase of goods or services. Please keep in mind that you do need to keep proper documentations of all of your expenditures, including items such as a receipt or invoices for your purchases. This documentation should be maintained in your gambling records for 3 1/2 years. Code 8 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures allows your organization to pay state, local, and federal taxes on gambling receipts. For example, using this category, you can pay both your federal and state UBIT tax, your federal 730 tax, and 11C for your organization only. In addition, you can pay local law enforcement tax, which is up to 3% of your net receipts. This category is where you're also going to report your state gambling tax paid to Minnesota Revenue for the receipts that you make on raffles, paddle wheels, bingo, pull tabs, tip boards, and electronic gaming. You will also include your monthly regulatory fee under Code 8. These figures are calculated on your Minnesota Revenue G1 form. You will notice that payroll taxes were not included in the expenditures allowed under Code 8. Payroll taxes are considered an allowable expense and therefore will be reported on your LG 100A. In addition, penalty and interest is not considered a lawful purpose expenditure, whereas they are reported as an allowable expense on that LG 100A. Lastly, you will also see that local investigative fees are not considered a lawful purpose expenditures. These as well are considered an allowable expense and reported on the LG 100A. When using the Gambling Control Board reports or private software, you will be prompted to select the type of tax being paid. The Gambling Control Board is collecting this information to better identify what taxes each organization is paying for statistical purposes. Code 9 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures allows your organization to pay real estate taxes on owned premises where gambling is conducted, or wholly leased 501c19 veterans organizations where gambling is conducted. A premise is determined by the actual address. Pieces of property with different addresses are considered different premises, even though they may be adjoined or adjacent. You may only pay for the property taxes on the building that has the permitted premise to conduct gambling and the parcel of land on which the building stands. You may not pay taxes for separate parcels of land or buildings for which the organization has no premises permit to conduct gambling. Your organization may use Code 10 of Lawful Purpose Expenditures to make contributions to a unit of government, such as the United States government, the state of Minnesota, a county, city, or township. A lot of money is donated to cities, for example, for firefighting or other public safety equipment. If your organization is a fire relief association that is affiliated with the city, you are required to donate directly to the city under Code 10 for any equipment. Organizations may not receive a monetary, economic, financial, or material benefit or gain from this donation. In addition, donations may not be made that contribute to pension funds. Donations for these purposes require the Form LG 555, Government Approval or Acknowledgement for Use of Gambling Funds, to be completed and maintained in your gambling records for 3.5 years. Direct contributions to law enforcement agencies are not allowed. Your local ordinances may require up to a 10% contribution to a city-administered fund. It is important to understand if your city requires this contribution. If you are unaware of your local city ordinance, check with your city administrator. If your city does require this contribution, they can require up to 10% of your net profits be contributed to the local unit of government. Net profit is your gross receipts minus any allowable expenses minus your state taxes on gambling. Cities do have restrictions on how they may use these funds. Funds collected for the 10% contribution fund must be used by the city to pay for lawful purpose expenditures. Your organization is not required to fill out Form LG 555 for contributions to a 10% fund. When using the Gambling Control Board reports or private software, you will be prompted to select the type of contribution being made. In addition to local ordinances being able to require a 10% contribution fund, local ordinances may establish trade areas on which your lawful purpose expenditures must be spent. If you are unsure if your local ordinances include a trade area restriction, check with your city administrator. The trade area requirement may require your organization to spend up to 100% of its lawful purpose expenditures in a specific trade area for a city or county. The local ordinance must clearly define the city or the county's trade area and must include bordering cities and townships. When reporting your lawful purpose expenditure on the LG 100C, you will use the appropriate lawful purpose expenditure code. And if the fund happens to be a contribution to a government agency, remember that you will need to complete the LG 555 and maintain this in your gambling records for 3.5 years.